Well, hello there. Welcome to another edition of the Let's Be Whole show. We have a very, very special show for you guys today, and I would like to introduce myself and our co-host on this panel with us. My name is Nina Womack, aka Cleopatra J, and we have...
Hi, I'm Angel Aviles, aka Sad Girl.
Sad Girl.
And my name is Bridges Bay.
All right, a.k.a. Bridges Bay.
Bridges Bay. Excellent.
And right here we have Dr. Askia, our wonderful holistic health practitioner who is part of the Let's Be Whole team. So he's joining us again today.
And I'm so fortunate and blessed just to be here with you three and everyone in the stage.
Exactly. So our topic for today, we feel, is very appropriate and timely to discuss, and that is how to handle race-related stress. And a lot of us don't understand, we're not even aware that we endure stress that is related to race. And so I want to start off by an example. A perfect example was Angel. I'm putting Angel on blast.
We're going there right now. Yeah. So I rolled up in the car, and I was a little bit...
What happened
was I was on fire with anger because Nina and I had served the homeless yesterday, and it was an amazing experience. And Nina had this surplus of water, and she decided to give it away because people are thirsty. And we have this huge thing. Dr. Askia talks about water in every part of the body, and we were just truly, and we had this amazing meeting. We were truly on fire to just give this water out to people that needed it, people with their parched lips. I mean, Ali carried this. It was hot. Mm-hmm. Anyway, some girls from Chola Pinups had come out, and they came all the way from Pomona, and they got to my location early, which I serve at this location in Santa Monica on a regular basis. And they just served and didn't care what color anybody was. They just got there, and I was literally like, take a table. And they cleaned up and just gave of their time, an hour and a half in the car. And then after that, they gave us 4 cases of water. Mm-hmm. And they're going to do the same thing in Pomona. So I was really encouraged. I did a Facebook Live, and then Nina had, is that a cue?
No, that was a caller.
Oh, okay. So anyway, long story long rather, is that on this video that got shared quite a bit on Facebook Live, Nina had brought over one of many of the homeless that we served yesterday, and he happened to be Caucasian. And I get like multiple comments on this Facebook post about how we're cowards for only serving white people, and why don't we really go serve the homeless in Skid Row, and oh, how funny that you're ignoring the black and brown population. And I was like, I'm sorry, are you shitting me? What? Are you like, the New York in me just flew. The Puerto Rican was like in full effect when I was in my car. I was like getting hot, taking off my clothes. I was like, oh. So anyway, I just wanted to
let me chime in real quick. The thing about it is the project is called Operation Hydration, and all of us are going out as a team and passing out water to the homeless because they need water, out here in the sun for the summer. So we have multiple locations that we're going to. We're going to Skid Row on the 21st. Actually, we're going to Van Nuys. We'll also be in Leimert Park. So this water is servicing everybody, all races. But the guy that we had on that at the time that she did a Facebook Live video with her phone, the homeless guy we just happened to at that moment was, he wasn't even white, but he was
must
probably
have been native.
Like,
Of
Native
some
American
kind.
or
He was
something.
a native, he had to be mixed.
Yeah. And
But-
so then from this guy's, her Facebook friend's perception, it looked like we were only out there servicing white people in Santa Monica.
Wow.
Which is like so crazy. And then the idea that also like Skid Row was the only place in LA where there's a homeless population. I mean, we were obviously in Venice. We were in Santa Monica, which is a huge, huge homeless population. I think one of the biggest homeless populations in the country. One of them, because they do have great social services. But the crazy thing, and this is obviously what we're talking about, is that I consider myself a person. I meditate. This is hilarious because I meditated for half an hour today, and I was still full force Puerto Rican, like level 50 of anger Richter scale, like vibration. Oh,
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
madness.
And that's why we're doing this show today, which I felt like really, really needed to be discussed because we're not aware of the race-related stress that we hold on to. And it's a trigger like this that Angel, I've known her for years, and she's the most pleasant, loving, just down-to-earth spirit you want to meet. So when she came in here, she's like, I'm crying, Nina, because she kind of got into a Facebook altercation with this guy. I'm like, for somebody to get her that upset, but it boils down to race.
And it boils down to a lot of times, like, he only saw this very, very short clip of media. And so his perception of what he saw was this, and he was very quick to voice his opinion. And I think that was also an important sort of acknowledgement for me and how we're constantly manipulated by the media. We're constantly manipulated and shown only bits and pieces so that we do get riled up. And so that bits and pieces, he offended me on so many levels, and I don't even know this person. And I didn't even think, I wasn't trying to know what his experience is, why he's so angry at white people and why he thinks white people deserve nothing and they should actually die of thirst. Is what he was basically saying, like, they should die. And, obviously he was some sort of Latin person. So I'm like a brown on brown word crime. I've been, you know what I mean? But here we are going again at it with each other, and we don't even know each other's story. And I wasn't even trying to know his story really at the time. Obviously we've had dialogue since. And I'm just like, look, just come serve. Let's fix this together. Doesn't matter what you think of me.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that you said just kind of hit me, like, we don't even know each other's story.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Well, one thing.
Yeah.
Go on.
I just think that we just have to stop being so immature and understanding life is life. That all, we're just spirits having a human experience. Some people come in a 7-Up bottle, some come in a Coca-Cola bottle. But we have to understand it, and what we have to learn in these times is it's an old saying: if you argue with a fool, a third person will pass by and don't know who's the fool. So a lot of time when people are foolish, and nothing worse than being around someone that knows everything about something they know nothing about.
Yes.
And we can't allow them to take us there. See, that's where we have to balance ourselves with. Because see, when you're angry, even when we're dealing with race relations right now, see, we don't need to be like the water buffalo. In Africa, you watch the Discovery Channel and you see the water buffalo run when the lion attacks them. Well, the water buffalo is all emotional behind it. When he gains his composure, he turns around and confronts the lion. Then the lion stops hunting him. You see, so we have to learn to let things go and see, because white people been played the game just like we've been played the game. Maybe not to the same level. What I'm saying with that, poor whites think they better just because they're white. And so a lot of times they don't accomplish what they could accomplish in their life because they still dealing with this superiority and they've been treated at the lowest level. But we just have to understand we cannot allow our inner spirit to be affected by foolishness. Because then it's a test of where we are in ourselves. So when you find something, you got to be just like a rock. Just let the water just go to the side. Don't internalize it. They're not at your level.
Well, what about I see a lot of people sharing on Facebook about, with the whole Black Lives Matter movement that, hey, we don't want to be passive anymore. Like, we're ready to take action and, do whatever it takes by any means necessary, that we're not going to take police brutality.
Oh, no. I agree. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I agree. Because I grew up, I'm 59. I grew up during the time of the 60s. With the Panthers and with the Nation of Islam and all these things, and I think it is the time, because we can't be in a situation where it's okay for a black man to die, but never for a black. See, it's okay for us to die for a cause, but a white man will kill for he won't have to die. You see, you have to come to a certain point in your life that whatever that means necessary is to get that done. Like I said, it's like the wildebeest. He runs off, and next day we put on Facebook like the wildebeest, moo. Another incident happened. It's at one point in time that we have to do is confront the lion. Then the lion changes, because if a wildebeest went to a lion's den and said, "I'm gonna take your cub," the lion was like, "You must be out your mind. This is not what happens in nature." So we do have to look at it in everything. It's like America. America deals with a diplomatic situation. But they saying, if it comes to it, we can go military on you too. Now, I'm not advocating violence, because if you're in a civilized society, it shouldn't be. It's like you hear the comments about, well, Black Lives Matter. You hear it from Giuliani and a lot of other politicians who I think is racist or whatever, because all lives matter. Well, if all lives matter, there wouldn't be no Black Lives Matter. You see? If all lives matter, if we were all the same, there wouldn't be a civil rights legislation. So don't con me and tell me it's the same. That should start from the highest level up. In the situation with the police, I haven't heard the police union come out and say, we got to clean up our act. We got to get rid of some of these bad cops. We need to be more forceful and clean our house, that these citizens feel comfortable with us. But we always saying, well, they're being attacked. But I haven't heard you say one time that you need to clean your act and set a policy. You need a snitch policy in the police department. If you have a bad a cop, then you should do it. I was thinking about today about where we could do something that we could do to solve some of these problems with police brutality. I think it's something as simple as this. When the police stop you and ask you for your driver's license, he should have a card with his badge number on it. Give me your badge. Officer, can I have your badge number, your name on it? And if I have an incident, now I could really be cool, because I could act with you later. See, we need to create certain things. If you're a police officer in our community, you should spend 10 hours in community service in the community that you serve. You see, because a lot of times what we do is we say it's the police, but police is not the problem, it's the policies. It's no different than the 60s. We thought it was the pigs, but then we found it's the policy. So we have to be more proactive, and we can't get all emotionally and upset. We need to be strategic. Now, this gives us an opportunity for one thing here. When we see this type of action being taken about us, we should learn to love each other more. We pass each other in the streets all the time and look at each other in the face and won't say hello, good morning. See, back in the 60s, we used to say, how are you doing, my brother? Hey, what's going on, my sister? Power to the people, free Hewitt. We had an interaction. So we have to create in this it's a hole or a porthole. It's not time to be dealing with things emotional. It's things to strategize. Learn your history, learn your culture, learn your love. And when you have that love and you have that unification, then that power in itself will take things another way. But we just can't deal with this in emotion, because that's a childlike. Children will cry, and then and they sit in the crib and cry, and then they know one day, give you a candlelight visual, and you go back to sleep, and 6 years later, next year is a whole different problem. You know, Black Lives Matter not only in the police department, but in our school system. How can we have a school system that has less than 20% going into higher learning? That's Black Lives Matter too. When you have a liquor store and a motel on every street, that's Black Lives Matter too. So we have to expand the concept of what we're looking for, what we're planning to do. But in our own personal life, we have to find unity with ourselves. in unity with our community, unity with your sister and your brother. Stop being pissed off at your sister and brother for 20 and 30 years.
Correct.
Talk to your cousins. Call people that's been sick and you know they need some help. When you see somebody going through something, be there for them. See, that's Black Lives Matter. So we just can't deal it from an emotional standpoint. This gives us an opportunity.
Well, see, and then when we get caught up, though, in that emotion, that's where the stress comes, you know, just like what you went through today. I think that it's very important that we have a plan of action, like seriously, on how to defuse potential angry situations.
That's correct. I mean, how I look at things is like, there is a lot of things going on. Being an Aboriginal of North America myself, I have experienced many things. But I began to look, at myself. Because a lot of times we spend time pointing fingers and calling people crayon colors, white, black, you know what I mean? Using things like that. That divides. Now, how can we point the finger when we haven't took any action to fix our own communities? We kill each other. We're steady buying drugs, selling drugs to our own people. So we have to collectively look at the whole situation and point a finger at ourselves. What can we do to make our community better? What are we doing? Are we expecting somebody to come in and save us, to give us money and handouts? Or can we collectively come together and say, hey, let's go fix that building. Let's paint that wall. Let's grow our own food. What can we do? So it's not the matter of color. We're not crayons. You know what I mean? All things are bound by cords. We're living beings created by the Creator. So we need to figure out what's going on in our communities and fix them. If we have a problem with the police department, then maybe we should hire people that are within the communities to police our communities and not others outside that don't have an understanding of what's going on in there. So this is more only of a higher and lower self as an individual. You look at yourself. What can I do to make myself better? You know what I mean? What can I do to do good things? Can I go out and feed the homeless? What can I do to help the other communities? It doesn't have to be in a so-called black neighborhood or a brown neighborhood. We're all collectively a community, so we have to get out of that. So we need to stop watching TV, get off our butts, and go out there in the communities and figure out what's going wrong and fix them ourselves. As simple as that. I love everybody, no matter what background you have, what religion you have, that doesn't divide us. You're from the Creator just like I am. What can we do to fix this problem? It's not the system, it's the people. Sometimes you get people who act in their lower selves, who want to use these things because they're miseducated. You know what I mean? So this is a self problem.
But
we all have to look at ourselves and find out what's wrong with us. You know what I mean?
But I think one thing, too, is I think we need to separate these two things. Because I really hate every time that we talk about the police brutality, somebody comes back and says, well, all people are people. Yeah, that's true. See, I've never had a Crip or Blood stop me at 2 o'clock in the morning and ask me for my driver's license, okay? Let's deal with the police issue, because it's an issue. We know we have issues with ourselves, but that's another topic altogether. And we can never allow our enemy to take us off track of dealing with the issue with him. Because we're taxpayers, you're getting paid by us. You are supposed to be in a position here. But a lot of times, like I said, they come in, the maneuver is, well, let's talk about black on black crime. No, let's talk about that tomorrow. Let's talk about what I pay for and what your job is, and separate the two. But both of them are very important. But we cannot allow the enemy to go off and take us from one, try to combine both of them. It's different issues, and all issues need to be dealt with.
Yeah, but this show's topic is race-related stress, and so dealing with police brutality, you do have a lot of race-related stress that comes with that. I know, like what happened with Philanthro, the one who got murdered with his Philandro.
Yeah, I don't.
What's his?
I don't remember his name off the top, but
okay, Orlando. Yeah. So what happened with him? I know me personally, I've had some traffic issues, some minor violations, no serious crimes or anything, but that concerns me now, when I'm driving on the road, even though I would think, oh, okay, well, I've just had some previous traffic issues, but I could just be like him. I could get pulled over. So that's a certain degree of stress that I go through when I'm out in the road and dealing with the police now. Now my stress level has gone up every time they drive by because I think about that trigger of what happened to them. And so how do we move past those stressors?
Past the triggers. I get it. I think that there's also like a lot of systemic. I do think the police brutality is one. I think the whole prison industrial complex is another. Those are things that we really, really have to address. I think through education, definitely, because I think some people don't even know what the prison industrial complex is, and this is our everyday. If you have a child who's black or brown, the chances of them going to jail, and now there's a greater population of women. So we're raising young women that, they go into the prison industrial complex and, then they have a baby in there somehow. They have babies. I don't know how that happens. So then that's two people in the complex. So you have one getting paid by the government and then working some job that they're going to, maybe making these clothes. I don't know. So that's that. The whole idea that, our people are worth more and they deserve to be in this environment as opposed to in our communities doing amazing things and creating the great cities that are historical for our people.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to know. How can we channel this energy, like what you were saying? I mean, just going on Facebook or on your social media or whatever and bitching and moaning about, the police are doing this to us and the white man is doing this. And I see so much racial tension on Facebook. Like, I swear I'm in the 1950s again. I swear to God.
Well, we have to, like I said before, don't internalize this.
Yes.
You have to learn not to internalize it. Like I say, every situation is a hole or a porthole. This is a way to be able to unite, create love, create connection, create contact, create dialogue between each other. This is a great opportunity to do that. So in unification of going down the street, we had, back in the 60s, we had the same problem, but we developed a dialogue with you. Hey, my brother, how you doing, my sister? Let me open up the door for you, my sister. Hey, power to the people, free Huey. The word brother, sister became a part of how we dealt with the stress. We found not individuals, we found a connection between each other. And we need to really recreate that again. Absolutely. And that in itself lets go of the stress. So this is a time that we show love for ourselves and show love for our community by, when you pass a sister and brother, find the connection. That brings you closer together. It relieves stress inside of you. But if you internalize this pain and worry like a wildebeest or a water buffalo that, everybody's attacking me, you would emotionally are doing exactly what the enemy would want you to do. Is to be in fear, get emotional, and get upset. And anytime that if you play football, if the other team gets fearful, emotional, and upset, they getting ready to lose. So we have to learn that love has to come. How can we unite? How can we get more involved? Because the only reason why they were able to do what they do is because we weren't unified in the first place. So in every way possible, learn the unification and learn to not internalize this. Don't be so fearful. And if a cop comes, don't be so fearful. We understand that's an option, but you can't live in fear.
But can you look at that cop, and he's, let's say, a white cop, and go, hey, my brother, how you doing?
Yep.
Look.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a kind of like what you were talking about earlier. Like, for me, I recognize my ego having this fight. But it was already too late because we were already joined. We had already made a baby, me and my ego. But that baby was violent. You know what I mean? But I recognize my lower self in there. But when I took myself out there and I was like, okay, you know what? The bottom line is that this is the mission. It's not about, let me take my ego out and not care. This person obviously doesn't know me as a person. But if you think you know this cause and you care about people's thirsty lips, then I don't care if you're an ass. I don't care if I like you or we like each other. Can we serve this water together? You can go your way. You know what? You can love Donald Trump. You can.
Donald Trump.
You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is that I would like to get to that point where you do you. We're on this cause. It's hard letting go of that fear, letting go of the ego, you know what I mean?
But we have to understand we have a higher power here.
Yes.
I remember one time I was getting a ticket. I was coming down right there on La Cienega, the Bank of America and stuff, and I'm getting ready to make a left-hand turn and said, you can't turn after 4 o'clock. So the cop pulled me to the side. And he pulled me to the side, and I said, hey, officer, Here's my driver's license. Here's my registration. My bank is right there. Can I go? He let me go to the bank. I got back to the car, and I said, I do really appreciate that. And I said, hey, I really appreciate it. How many kids you got? I took him to another thing. Instead of dealing with the law, I said, how many kids you got? He told me how many kids. I said, yeah, man, it's different when you're raising children and all this. So I said, how much the ticket be? He said about $385. They let you go to school. The conversation went so well that he said, and I said, man, everything gonna be okay. We all going through the stress, right? He said he walked in my car and he saw the deodorizer over my thing. He said, I'm gonna write you a ticket for that. $15 instead of $360. I said, well, let me do you a favor. Let me call your watch commander and tell her how helpful. And I called the watch commander and told him, hey, he was a good officer, and I just want to appreciate. He still gave me a ticket. I let it go. Sometimes you got to maneuver.
We got to take a break real quick. So hold on to that thought, and let's take a commercial break. We will be right back on how to handle stress, race-related stress. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Welcome back to the Let's Be Whole show. The topic today is how to handle race-related stress. That song you just heard was a beautiful instrumental called Barcelona by the artist Bane Jakovic, and that's under Creative Commons. Wasn't that beautiful?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was really beautiful. Actually, that reminds me of like one of the ways to de-stress. I think obviously I'm a little heated sometimes. I can be emotional.
I think when it comes to dealing with race relations and so forth, like say if you're in an environment, you went out into a trip, mm-hmm. and there's a restaurant full of only Caucasian people, and you're the only black person there, James. Would you feel, be honest, would you feel totally 100% relaxed and at ease, or would your stress level go up just a little bit?
I mean, I always walk into situations like that. Of course, it'll be a little awkward because it's, predominantly Europeans. But it has to be a situation like if there's nothing negative going on, I mean, I'm just going to go in there and do what I got to do and eat. But, you know, I mean, yes, I mean, I would say a little bit because, I mean, the time that we're in and, you know, just everything that's taking place. But I don't let it affect my, you know, my daily things that I do in my life. So what I do is, you know, I go and I smile and I just do me, focus on what I'm there to do, handle that and leave, you know, smile to them and keep my peace. And, you know, some of the things that I do personally, you know, to deal with stress, listening to music. I like to do charity work in the communities, you know, feed the homeless, talk to the people, you know, and kind of see what's going on in their communities. You know what I mean? How can I be of service to them? You know what I mean? Just things like that. And there's just so much we can do, you know what I mean, to relieve stress. I mean, conversation, you know, greeting people, you know what I mean? Those things, the things that are so simple, you know what I mean? It's really simple.
Well, we've got a guest caller on, Shakiji Abdul. He is the CEO of Culturazine Media. Hey, Shakiji, how are you?
Hey, what's up, sister?
Hey. So, you know, today's topic is how to handle race-related stress. I just wanted to get your perspective on it and ask you what could we do to empower ourselves as a human race.
I think that race-related stress goes back far beyond the things you think about. What we can do is try to deal with it is, one, confront it and be honest with it, and two, try to talk and communicate about it.
I agree. You said it goes back many, many years ago, and I agree 100%. I would say it started with the catastrophe of the slave trade. Would you agree that it started about that time?
I would agree that's exactly where it started.
And I think that it is programmed in our DNA, the stress that our ancestors have endured through, you know, torture and so forth. And so we carry, as African American people, we carry a lot of that stress and fear and anger still that's programmed in our memories of ourselves.
I agree. About 500 years of it.
500 years. So what do you think, in your opinion, could be done to get over that stress?
Well, race is that elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about, but everybody deals with.
Exactly.
I think that we have to be honest with it, and I think that people can't get offended by it. History is history, and we have to deal with it and be honest with it and try to change it. One of the things we can help change it is, one, education, two, communication, three, honesty, and or owning what has actually happened and owning it and trying to move forward in a positive manner.
Exactly. And what about economically?
Well, I think that, you know, the problem in this country is both economic and emotional. But the ways to deal with certain things in this community is, in the minority communities especially, we have to change the economics. If you get an education, I think you should, you know, get an education that's going to be something that's empowering. Two, there has to be economic solutions as far as banking systems, grants, programs. I think that people that have the haves should definitely be trying to invest more in have-nots, which will take away some of the economic slavery. Two, we have to sit down and build in our communities the same programs, as I stated earlier. The same problems that were there when you got out of the ghetto are the same problems that are still there. And I think ESPN, the athletes, have to give them a shout-out. LeBron and those guys at the ESPYs did a great job in saying we have to reinvest in our communities. And it's us, the athletes, the entertainers that made it out. We have to put programs back into it.
How you doing, brother? I just wanted to chime in on that. So you're saying our people, we should practice group economics and as well as investing our money into our own banks which is, that benefit our community. We need to watch and see where our dollars are going, where our tax dollars are going, and be in control of our money, because we actually spend a lot of the money that's in our economy. And a lot of people a lot of people don't realize how powerful we are as a community in general. We spend so much money. It's just what we spend our money on, and actually the people who own the businesses. So, we need to create more businesses and invest our money into our own banks so we can build our infrastructures up. You know what I mean? And that's a beautiful thing, brother. Peace and love.
Yeah,
I agree, bro.
Brother, I think that you're hitting the point, and I think that one thing that we have to look at with our people is culture. You have to develop a culture. Japanese came back twice in World War I and World War II because of culture. And so we need to be understanding our culture. In that culture, you develop a self-love for yourself, and then when you connect with someone from the same culture, then you have a stronger bond. Because our gross national product right now is $1.3 trillion.
Yeah.
We was a country, we'd be the 8th powerfulest country in the world.
Wow.
I agree.
I think it's really interesting too, because from a Latin perspective, it's very, very similar. Just from sheer numbers, the amount of money that's spent is crazy. And they actually did a study where it showed like a lot of people that live here are still sending money to Mexico or to the countries of origin. And, so there tends to be this whole other economy that's happening that, that either leaves the country altogether, or once you get to a certain point, you aspire to move into the white neighborhood. And I think that when, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm from New York. I think sometimes like the whole Caribbean Latin experience is very different from a Central American Latin experience, in that like we're very familiar with the African diaspora that occurred across the entire world. But the idea that where we come from is not good enough should just be completely wiped out of our minds.
Well, yeah, and on that note, I wanted to touch base about something that my degree is I minored in Pan-African studies, so I did a lot of extensive research in Pan-Africanism. And one thing that I have lots of things I've come to the conclusion about, but one was through the use of media, like you brought up today, these images, stereotypical images, were implanted in a subconscious level in everybody's brains, with the mammy character, the minstrel, during the minstrel periods of the 1700s and the early 1800s, and that has created a whole big stereotypical view of the way that people see black people, even the way that we see ourselves.
Correct.
We see ourselves as, oh, this is a big black man, so he's probably going to harm us, because the media has shown us those images over the years and programmed our mind about those particular images. So I think that once we come to terms, like you're saying, Shakiji, with being honest, with talking about it, with, looking at, okay, maybe I do see a white person as a corny person that just gets his or her butt kicked all the time. They're nerdy, because those are the stereotypical things that I see through the media. Or, this light-skinned woman, oh, she's the tragic mulatto character. She doesn't know if she's white or black, because those are the images that we've seen through the media. So we've got to reprogram our brains and our perception of people. And I think that the police, they're just humans, just like we are, so they too have been brainwashed by the media's stereotypical negative images of us. So of course, when an officer is encountering a black person, on a subconscious level, they may not even be aware of it, but that is going to program in as threat. This is a black man, fear of a black man. Shoot.
Yeah, but I think that the same example that you gave of the mammy jar, when you turn around and make the white man Jesus, it's supposed to be here's a divinity, and you're gonna go out and say the divinity look like me. We don't understand that plays an effect on you.
Yes, absolutely.
Somebody blonde-eyed, blue eyes, coming out the Middle East, and he's your Lord and Savior, looking like a race that's in a superior position. That's as bad on the other end as a mammy jar.
Yes.
You see, and we don't
I
even
agree.
question that. We go to black church. If you put a black picture of a Jesus in a white church, they would turn Buddhist the next day.
Oh my gosh, it was like that was the big deal about Madonna's video, remember?
Yeah.
When she did Like a Virgin and she cast a beautiful black man as Jesus. And everybody lost their mind.
Yeah. But that's such a strong superior. So when we develop that concept, so we look at everything in society. If it's a postcard on a billboard, everything in white is in a superior position. You see. So when they had hell when they even made Cosby Show because it was showing a positive image and they thought it wouldn't work.
Correct, brother.
So what we have to understand that these images that have always been presented through us causes race problems because it makes me as a child feel inferior. When they did Dr. Clark's Black Doll, White Doll in the 1960s, and the same feeling of the black doll was always bad and the white doll was good. They did it 2 years ago with young children from 2 and 3 and 5 and 7 years old, and the same results came out 50 years later.
Well, you got to understand the reason why. If you go look up the dictionary and you look up black, everything in it is evil, dark. You look up white, everything is angelistic. So this description, along with the media image and the portrayal, and I'm glad we understand that the media has a big role. You go back to when they take pictures and they darken the pictures to make us look more sinister. All of these things comply with this conversation that we're talking about. I had a very unique conversation on my radio station the other day. A friend of mine who dates black women is a police officer. He said, man, the darker the black male is to me, the more intimidating it is. And
You
I had
said
to
a
listen
black
to-
officer said that?
No, a white officer who dates black women said, the darker the black male is, the more intimidating it is for me. And I had him explain to me why. And he said, man, I don't know. It's just something that's embedded in my brain. Again, this goes back to
That's what I'm saying.
imaging, data,
Exactly.
and media control that's been spun for the last
Exactly.
500 years.
Yeah, and that racism plays out even in our outlook. So we use the word
Exactly.
she's dark, but she's pretty. Why do you don't say she light, but she's pretty? You say she's dark, but she's pretty.
Right.
So we in ourselves have internalized this subconscious self-hatred inside of ourselves. So we have to look at that. When King Kong came out in 1920, there was multiple lynchings around the country. Subconsciously, they looked at King Kong as a big dark thing with a white woman in his hand, and they started lynching. So it's the fabric of America, and we really, and like you said earlier today, brother, is that we need a dialogue to really truly be honest where we are in every aspect and how manipulation of races you don't have the same problem of race relationships in Beverly Hills because the person who lives in Beverly Hills know they got an attorney. So it's not only about being black or brown, is do I have the financial security when you take my rights away to come after you, and that becomes a part of it too.
Well, it goes back to the economics again. Malcolm X said, black unity, you have no black economics.
Yeah.
Exactly. Shakiji, we've got to take another call, but thank you for being with us. All right.
No
next
problem.
caller.
You guys have a good one. God
Okay,
bless.
you too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right. Do we still have our caller?
No, I think we
Okay,
lost
we just
that
lost
one.
some. Call back if you can. So yeah, exactly. I want to share an experience about my personal experience about race relations. As I feel like being a light-skinned woman from South Central, I'm a product of slavery. So I wasn't, half white and half black. Both of my parents are fair-skinned blacks. And growing up in South Central LA, I have had to constantly, I feel, prove my blackness to my fellow sisters and brothers that were darker than me because they would tease me over the years since I can remember as far back as 4 years old, calling me white girl. My hair is like a white girl. I dance like a white girl. I look like a white girl. My nose is like a white girl. That is a lot of stress for one person, for any human being to grow up having to deal with. And so one thing that I found is that that you have to put on this, persona. Light
extra
skinned
black
people
on.
have to put your extra black. Like, I will whoop yo, don't mess with me, And do we have the caller there? Hello?
Yeah, this is Mr. Hip Hop Effect.
Hey, Rashad, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Good. So what do you have to say about this topic? Have you been listening in?
Yes, I have been listening in. You know what? Like, growing up, I never really been teased at all, about, like, my skin tone or what's darker, what's lighter. Like, now, I got two twin sisters.
Mm-hmm.
They had to go through that, that situation growing up. And, my mother, she always told us, it don't matter how light, dark you is, God made, you for a reason. Just like He made me for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Black is beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad that in 2016, we still dealing with this self-hate, in a lot of ways, because Hollywood has gotten real bad. Now, you see some black women using Botox surgery and all kinds of stuff, Then we also deal with the crime and everything else. It's just that, the way the world is designed, something definitely needs to wake up, but it's kind of hard to even, do that, because we're dealing with everyday life. So, but just to make a long story short, I dealt with racism. I've been called the N-word before, when I was in college, and then when I went to Georgia Tech. So, seeing on TV is one thing, but have somebody the opposite of race call you that, it just kind of like, shocks you. But, all they can do is just pretty much deal with it, just, how it is.
How did you deal with it?
Yeah.
I'd be curious, like, you were in college, and so you were of a certain age.
Yeah, I was about at the time I was 20. I'm not gonna lie, I was very angry. I had so many thoughts in my head, but what I did, instead of me retaliate, I just, put it in God's hands, because I'd rather, live my life the right way than retaliate, try to get revenge, and be in jail,
Yes, and so did you graduate from Georgia Tech?
Yes, I did.
Congratulations. You did the right thing, because, brother, had you done something to this ignorant fool, he would have taken your education away. And there'd be one more person locked up in that complex who is so much more useful and powerful outside educating the masses. So thank you for demonstrating that level of self-control at such a young age.
Brother, I wanted to say something. When people act that way, I think it's more of a self-hatred. They're not happy with themselves. So, they tend to, attack others when they're not happy with themselves. And that's why I say that it goes to a self thing. Because, we can go out there and, I'll see other brothers and they're looking, at me like they're ready to jump on me. I'm like, brother, I'm not the one, I'm just here, to help, So.
But not to cut you short, this is a true story. Now, my cousin, she dark-skinned it. And I know one time we was in the car, we went to Burger King, and so while we was waiting on the food, and she said, Rashad, she said, I wish I had your eyes and your skin tone. And I said, why you say that for? But she said, because it look like you have it made. And I said, look, it's not like that. I said, the thing is, I didn't ask to be like this. This is what God made me like this,
Right.
And this is what God made you are. I said, there's plenty of guys that would, they would take a woman that's, dark, or even, take a fair skin, I said, the thing is, trying to change yourself, it's not going to, lead to nowhere. Saying just be happy with who you are inside out.
Correct. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and she's heavily melanated. I like to say she was kissed by the sun, and it's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? If we were all looked the same, life would be boring. That's the beautiful thing about our Creator. He's able to create. You know what I mean? And we just need to set aside all that. That's a programming, and just move forward on, out of love, not hate. Anything that divides is out of the Lord's self. So, I try to, instill in my daughter very good values, how to treat people with respect. She's had a couple incidents at school when they told her she was black. I said, baby, you're not a crayon color. You have a nationality. And these are the things, this is what starts inside the household. It's just like we have to educate our kids. It doesn't start when they go to the school. It starts at home. So we have to, build our kids up to let them know that they have a history, that they come from ancient people. And when you don't have a history, you think you don't have a history and you don't have these things, you begin to act out on what you were, programmed with. So it boils down to our people are very beautiful. We have a beautiful history. I mean, come on now. I mean, you guys build pyramids. So, we just need to instill these great values into our kids and let them know that they're very beautiful people and we need to love. We don't need to continue on this path of, this is going to happen when you get old. Of course, you let them know this is how reality is and these things can happen, but still tell them, hey, still love. Go out there and play. Sometimes as adults, some people try to program their kids like, oh, don't go over there. Don't hang out there. No, they white. Don't go over there. Or don't go over there. He's black. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've got to say this. That is so important. I was talking to a friend of mine today on the phone, Deep Red, and Red is a yogi. We'll be filming him soon. But he is working with this young student, 7 to 12 years old, on dealing with racism and racial topics to bring this unity. And he said what he has gathered is every one of these young people's viewpoints on racism, that it comes directly from the parent. That he could tell that they're saying exactly what their parents said. He said one student in particular said, he's like a 7-year-old black kid, and he says, as soon as Trump goes into office, he's going to ship us all back to Africa. And he said he knew he didn't come up with that on his own, but he heard, his parents talking, and so I'm
going back to Mexico.
We have to understand. We have to understand that this is where the other brother had called in. We really have to have a dialogue.
Yes.
Because see, when racism develops, it creates stress in so many different ways. I mean, when we think about what is the real reason, did racism start when we were enslaved here? No, it started before then. It started when Europeans left their continent. When the Celtics used to rape the Germanic tribes, raped the Frank tribes, but they found that every time they raped each other, the baby still came out white. When they left the continent and they started mixing with people of color, then they found out that the melanin in the system was stronger. Now they can see they could be genetically annihilated. I always tell people, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing is a very good book. The ISIS Papers is a very good book. Her work on this, and we have to understand those levels. Is the starting point. When you find that we love each other, I'm a strong black woman, but I'm putting on somebody else's hair on my head. Right. I'm going to spend $400 and won't take my kid to a learning center because I got to spend $400 on some straight hair. My high blood pressure, diabetes. I'm overweight, but I have this European look. My hair is straight and I'm waving. This is another part of racism.
Vietnamese hair.
Indian hair. That we internalize. So a lot of time when racism starts, we internalize and develop mechanism to even fulfill that racist standpoint on how we look at each other. When a little girl is 3 years old and she's looking at her hair in a natural sense, and she's seeing her mother going to get her hair fried and dyed, and now what is it? The child looks at something wrong with me. I want to look like my mother. See, that's playing out racism even through the beginning. And we have to be able to look at every aspect of that dialogue. How is it in the major society? How are we impacted in our community itself?
Exactly. And so what I think, thanks so much for calling in, Rashad. Any last words?
I just want to say this. I know you guys been hearing this a whole lot. Usually, I see some light-skinned women, they be with a dark guy. They don't want the kids to be like them, or a dark-skinned person give it a light-skinned person or a white person to be like him. My thing is this, though. No matter who you be with, a child's going to come out the way it is. You can't change a genetic code. It's just how life goes like that. So I just want to appreciate y'all, having me, speak my voice in, and you guys have a good day.
Thank you. Very well said. Thank you so much. Yes, so I think that is definitely, we need to be aware of the stressors, the triggers when we get into race-related stressors. Every time we step out, if there's someone that's getting angry with us, I want to encourage us to just take a deep breath. If you're confronted by the police or someone that you perceive being racist, to breathe deep and think it through before just reacting, because ultimately you're not hurting them, you're hurting yourself. When we hold on to the stress, it creates high blood pressure, stroke, all kind of things. So every time we get on edge and want to lash out because we feel that someone is being racist against us, let's just problem solve and mainly focus on ourselves to stay calm in the situation and see what we can do to combat it.
Well, you just have to outthink. See, the hatred and all, those are lower emotions and lower vibrations.
Correct.
You have to learn how to vibrate at a higher level in any situation to deal with the situation. So if you're getting upset, like I said, if you argue with a fool, a third person passes by, I don't know who's the fool, because you're vibrating at the same level. So if somebody's coming towards you, coming where you're feeling that they're coming towards you negative, just go to a higher level. See, if you put a cup of poison in the ocean, and the ocean is like love, the cup of poison ain't going to do nothing to the ocean. You just got to bring your vibration to a higher level and look at things. So if you're getting emotional right there they didn't make you mad, you got mad. You didn't have to get mad.
It's true.
You allowed yourself to go there. See, a judo master doesn't hit you with anything. He just moves this and allow your defense to throw you off. So this is what we have to learn in every aspect. Hey, silence. See, a lot of times we're so insecure. We always want to speak what we feel. Silence is a power.
All right, so before we're going to take a break before we go to our last segment, I want to acknowledge a few people and a few projects. We have the Operation Hydration going on. We are still looking for volunteers. It started yesterday, and this project goes on to August 14th. We need cases of water donated so we can go out and continue giving out water to the homeless people, and also any cash donations. If you're not available to come and pass out the water with us, you can go to letsbewhole@gmail.com, LETS WHOLE. Let's be BEWHOLE@gmail.com. All right, and so let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Let's Be Whole show as we wrap up our last segment, and the topic is how to handle race-related stress. We have Empress Veaux here in the house. Hey, Empress. She is a healer, and she's going to take us through meditation practice in a little bit, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts about race-related stress. Do you feel like that's something you've dealt with or that you deal with? And how
yes, all of that. And as I was thinking about the stress on the way here, I was thinking, I think that we're at a point where we really need to go inside first and find some self-love and be able to do and feel ourselves before we make decisions on what we should do through anger. You know what I mean? I had recently a car accident, and it was out of anger and all the stress on me, and now my left side is all messed up because of the stress. And so stress is stress no matter how it comes. It comes through racism, it comes through anger and all these different things, and we must learn how to center ourselves and allow ourselves to feel at peace with what's going on. So the meditation that I do does that. It puts you in a place, and I understand that we got to figure out what to do. We really do. We can't just keep talking about it. We got to figure out something to do. Exactly. But if we're angry and we're trying to figure it out, it might not come out as smooth or complete. But if we find a self-love and then discuss the issue, it might be a little different.
Wow.
So I'd like to do that meditation because right now my arm is shaking like crazy.
That's okay.
It's very easy. First, you just want to kind of close your eyes and take a deep breath, and you just want to center yourself and allow yourself to relax and feel yourself just moving into a place where you're not worried about anything but just seeing the back of your lids and allowing yourself to just relax. Now I'm going to count back from 10 to 1. As I get closer to 1, we're just going to really let go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Just totally relax and totally at ease and let yourself just be at breeze. And now you want to just imagine right in front of you, because we're going to make this a short meditation, a light, bright. It could be coming from anywhere you decide, a peaceful place, God, heaven, wherever you decide this beautiful light. And just let it spiral in front of your third eye, which is right in between your eyebrows. And just imagine it, because your imagination is what takes you there. And as you see this beautiful light, you want to start to breathe it in. So you start your deep breaths right here, and you just breathe that light in. Take another deep breath. And allow it to go through your nostrils, down through your neck, down through your shoulders, and take it in again, and go down your arms, and down your chest, and down your legs, into your toes. So you're just totally full of this beautiful light. And as you feel yourself being expansive with this light, allow it to push out of your pores and just allow it to fill your aura and just allow it to feel very comfortable, very warm. And just stay in this light for some time. You could be here for all night, or you can just allow yourself to be here for like 5-6 minutes. And in this light is where thoughts should come through. And this is where a lot of times we can come up with solutions because we're just relaxed. We're not allowing anything to affect us. And a great way of coming out of this meditation is this light inside of you and pushing out of you. Just allow it to push out anything that is dark, anything that doesn't fit your style, anything that can make you ill. Just push it right out. It goes back to the light anyway. Just push it right out. And find peace in that. And then when you're ready, you allow yourself to come back into your body. I'm going to count from 1 to 5. When we reach 5, we'll be back in our bodies and talking again. 1, 2, coming back more into your body. 3, 4, and 5. Open your eyes and feel at peace.
Yes, thank you.
That was like a real short version.
But sometimes that's what you need, right? Because in conflict, like you're right there in the moment,
In the heat
right?
of things, yeah.
So, for instance, this young brother who is at his college campus and gets called outside his name, just being able to take that 10 breath experience and turn it into the time to let this divine enter you, where it is that space where, Askia was talking about. It's that space where you're functioning. Like I'm just, even though I feel like my voice just got deeper too. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
like my consciousness is elevated, but my voice is deeper.
Veaux always brings that calming energy. Also, with you being, this just reminded me about the importance of what women go through in dealing with race-related stress. Just even supporting our Black men, our African-American men, to know that they have to go out and deal with their perception or also actual incidences of racism, or maybe even sometimes what they perceive to be someone dealing with them on a racist standpoint, that a Black woman deals with that stress level too, of being there for her man, as well as what she may go through, dealing with other races as well.
Exactly.
So,
and it's really important that women remember that they have to take care of themselves first. Put your mask on first before you help anyone else. And we forget that because our children need us, our husband needs us. And a lot of times you'll find that you'll come to the end of the day and you've done nothing for yourself. And in years' time, you'll be down, you'll be depressed. And in years' time, when your children grow, that's when you should blossom. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and even in the explanation of having to, describe to your children that, racism is real without planting the seed of fear. Discussing that, okay, this is a reality. And so the real racism is that you can't do what your white counterparts can do.
That's the real one.
Right. The racism is like,
that it may be double standards.
It is, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, if you did that exact same thing, son, you'd be under the jail.
Exactly.
There's just no way.
Well, racism is like superior and inferior.
Yes.
It is. Marcus Garvey talks about superior race and inferior race. He says a superior race only looks at themselves and nothing between them and God. They reach whatever they want to do, and they define themselves. Inferior race believe you have to go through another level of man to get to God. That's when you become inferior. So what happens a lot of time with the racism that we see in our society is always let me know I'm not at the same level because you're superior over me. So it's not only the concept of black and white, is that superior, inferior take place in the mindset of us. So we don't never think that I'm complete. That's why I said we have problems with our hair, because I can't think I'm beautiful with just having, beautiful natural hair. If it's straight hair or whatever that I'm born with, I got to put on somebody else's concept of beauty, and that's going to make me whole. I'm a strong black woman, but I get somebody else's hair on my head. That's sickness. Straight off sickness. Now, it's a different if you want a choice. Sometimes you want to change your hairstyle to that. That means that I just want preference at time. But when it becomes the standard, this old saying, a woman's glory is her crown, and you put everybody else's crown on your head and wonder why you ain't the queen? It's self-acceptance. And we have to understand that self-love has to play itself, and we have to analyze everything that we do and every action that we take. How have this racism taken place, and how have I brought that home?
Exactly.
Even when we think about school, a lot of times people say, well, I need a great education. Maybe you're at time that you can't go back to school. But we equate education and knowledge on the same level. Hell, you could get knowledge all the time.
That's right.
You might not be able to get the education, but you can get the knowledge. See, books don't talk to you, they speak to you.
That's right.
So just go to this bookstore, get you some books on a particular topic that you want, and get the knowledge, and then you educate yourself.
I think the other thing that your meditation did, it kind of goes in keeping with Askia's comment earlier about silence being powerful, is that in a situation of racial tension or any tension, is the silence. It's not the people arguing over one another. I don't need you. I don't need to get my point across because I'm taking this into myself. I am silent and powerful, and that can be really disarming.
Yeah.
And I imagine that in that situation, when you're in that place of elevation, that would freak somebody out.
Yeah, it
Like they might
does.
have to stop in their truck and be
And
like,
make
oh,
them think about what they're talking about.
right. And I saw Jan Levan's aunt a few months ago, and she said that she had this altercation at the Michaels, and she was like, I'm sorry. I don't know what I did to make you think you could talk to me that way. But I'm not the one.
Yeah.
And she did it with such peace and grace.
And
when you watch women like that, and you're like, dang, that's a grown woman. Like, and it's sort of what you were talking about. It's the maturity, and that's not an age thing. It's a spirit.
It's a spirit. You know, I was going to read something if you don't mind.
Sure, of course.
I was reading, this is out the door. It says, this is the nature of the enlightened mind. The senses organs, which are limited in scope and ability, randomly gather information. This partial information is arranged into judgments, which are based on previous judgments, which are usually based on someone else's foolish idea. These false conceptions and ideas are then stored in a highly selective memory system. Distortion upon distortion, the mental energy flows constantly through contortions and inappropriate channels. And the more one uses the mind, the more confused one becomes. To eliminate the vexation of the mind, it doesn't help to do something. This only reinforces the mind's mechanics. Dissolving the mind is instead a matter of not doing. Simply avoiding becomes attracted to what you see and think. Relinquish the notion that you are separate from the all-knowing mind of the universe. Then you can recover your own original pure insight and see through all illusions. Knowing nothing, you will be aware of everything. Remember, because clarity and enlightenment are within your own nature. They are regained without moving an inch.
That's right.
Very well
Yes,
said. Very
yes,
well said.
very well said.
And one thing that we have to remember is race. Race is an illusion.
Yes.
It is a man-made construct.
What
Race
was
is an illusion.
Responsibly.
What did
Didn't
Gigi
you-
say?
Gigi said this
Race
amazing
is-
acronym for race.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, no. It's in my purse.
Oh.
But the old African proverb said, before we became physical, we were at the light level. But one day we looked down at our reflection and we gave a reality for the illusion. So once we understand that we are just the spirit having this human experience, and the experience, we can allow these little petty things on this earth thing to
And that's
take
what
us
it is,
off
petty.
our track.
Yes.
This is so petty. Like,
But it's definitely a
Being-
distraction. Because there are
A
other things that are
distraction.
going on. So this is just a distraction. And once we understand that, we can get to a deeper point of what's really going on. But still, it goes back to self, because a lot of times we have so much turmoil inside our bodies that we put it out on racism. And a lot of times it is that, but sometimes it's us too. You know? So-
And our interpretation of what exactly is, it's like, this is, why am I taking on your problem? Like in this space that you just put me in, all of a sudden somebody could really come out, and in the right mind, I can see you just don't know that I'm your mother. You know what I mean? You don't
Yes,
see that I'm
yes.
your sister, your child.
Yes.
I'm your lover. You have no idea.
Exactly.
And I'm so fully in this full consciousness.
Yes, because you're outside of it now. Yes, and you can see in.
Like I
better.
went in, and in order to come out.
Yes, I like that.
But you have to really go by telling people to cleanse yourself from this. You got to go back to your childhood.
Oh, that's another
Because
meditation.
that's where it starts from. It starts from all that pain and pleasure and how you created characteristics in your personality to survive. But you got to start asking yourself, what happened to me when I was 4, 5, 6, 7? What personality characteristics have I haven't dealt with? How did I not be able to forgive? How have I been holding all this pain for all these years? Instead of just going to school, get a PhD, and still crazy as hell. Still dealing with things that you need to deal with yourself. But be honest that I suffer from this. How can you be in 10 bad relationships and it was all 10 of them was bad relationships? You were perfect. They were all wrong.
Exactly.
Something is wrong with you. So, and if you mad about this and you mad about that, that and you're mad about this, maybe you might just be mad.
That's right.
So do you think if somebody is mad all the time then about race relations, then
We
it's something
we
with
could
them?
use all kind of excuses for not reaching our level. So we could use race. Well, the police did this. That's why I can't do this. Teacher didn't do this for me. My parents didn't give me the cookie when I was 8. We can make every excuse under the world to not to reach your spiritual level and your purpose in this reality. In religion, they say when you're born again is when you find what you're here for. And if you're not working on finding what you're here for, and you drown, see, you swimming in, you're swimming in pain and wonder why you're drowning. Let go of the pain.
Go the pain.
Now, what words would you say for somebody who's out here? We know we keep seeing about police are murdering people innocently, and you're out on the road. Like,
Well, this might sound a little corny, but I'm going to say it anyway. Through the light meditation, I also put a bubble around myself, an energy field of protection to allow myself to feel safe. Because a lot of times we pull in energy because we're fearful of the thing. And whatever we fear, we pull in. It just happens that way. I don't know why, but it is. So if we're pulling in things, let's just pull in safeness. Let's pull in peace. Let's pull in love. You know what I mean?
The law of vibration.
Yes.
We used
Yes.
to, I remember like my grandmother used to pray every time we left the
My
house.
grandmother did too.
You know?
Yes, for protection.
Yes, and I think just the idea, whatever your faith is, whether you have faith or not, the idea of having that moment of consciousness before you leave the door,
That's right.
because it's about you reaching that level of knowing, of all knowing that it's all good.
It is. And you have to save yourself first before you can go out and save others.
And you have to come to when people say, there's so many bad people out there. Hell, I don't know them.
Me either.
Because I ain't bad. I'm trying to go for the good.
Yes.
I only meet people like you.
Yes.
Everybody in here. This is what I meet up constantly because that's what I'm the power of attraction. It's like when you watch Star Wars, they talk about the Jedi Knight. He was just able to do this and everything just started going away. We have that power.
Yes.
So you talk about the bubble that you surround yourself. We do have that power for self-protection.
Yes.
Because we're spirits having this human
Yes.
experience, so we can accelerate to a higher vibration. But when you allow fear to come in, it's not only the law of attraction, it's the law of vibration, that you attracting that into your life. So if you fearful, it's like a hypochondriac. I ain't never known a healthy one yet because they think they sick all the time,
and so
they
they
stay
are.
sick.
That's
Think about you
simple.
hell.
That's simple.
Think that you have spirits around you all the time. We call them spirits or entities or whatever. They're all around you all the time. They walk with you all the time. But we're so busy in fear and
Speaking
pain that we don't even listen to the message they sending us constantly.
Yes.
So sometimes when they say we, and that spirit could be from you to me, from me to you, it's always communicated because the conscious collective out there. So when we talk about racism, we allow that to affect us. Because see, white people, people, they don't really have a conversation about it because they're not fearful of any of that.
And so they don't have it.
They created an environment that it doesn't exist with them.
What, fear?
No, fear, I'm talking about when we talk about race relationships or whatever else.
Right.
I think they do have fear. I think that they're very afraid based on things that, they've been manufacturing.
But they have a method of knowing how to deal with it. What I mean by that is that when we fear that someone is better. See, if when we talk about what goes on all the time. If I'm from Beverly Hills, this ain't the conversation. I'm thinking about other things that I'm dealing with, money, whatever I'm trying to do. It's not a normal conversation. And what we have to do is understand that we have to let that fear go. We have to not even internalize other people's pain because a lot of times in your relationship, we internalize other people's pain, what they doing. And they ain't worried about what they're doing. Where are you?
Right.
And they definitely have fear. Walking across the street, they're afraid.
Their children
marrying
a black another.
person,
Yeah,
a black man,
I think there's a lot of
fear.
They're very fear-based.
They have their race-related stress too,
absolutely.
as well. I have a question for you guys. Do you think that, as we know, humor is a stress reliever? Do you think about joking about black and white relations is a healthy way to relieve stress? I'm just curious of what your thoughts are.
In the comedy house, yeah. You go to see comedy. I enjoy laughing. But when we're having a conversation and we're trying to communicate, I think that's a disrespect.
So if they make white jokes or black jokes or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
You think that's a
Persian.
good stress reliever?
I think in the comedy house where you go to have a fun time, you're laughing about, and he's talking about everybody. But if we're holding a conversation and you're throwing it at me, I don't feel that that's correct.
If it's malicious or not.
Yeah, even if they're trying to make it light and humorous. Look, we're talking about a serious thing. Let's not joke. But I don't know. Some people, when they stress, they tell jokes and they make fun of things, and that's
they
how
laugh.
that's how they get through it. So it takes all kinds.
Exactly. So that could be a stress reliever too.
To that person, yeah.
You should be like, that's not funny.
Exactly. Like, but you have to stay peaceful, even when they're coming at you with all that stuff. You got to put up your bubble.
Yeah.
And it really makes a difference how you respond to people. You know, when you're inside the bubble, so to speak. It's just your energy field. You don't allow people to affect that happiness or that warmth that you've created that morning before you start your day. You can't allow people to do that. Even with our problems, when we watch the news and we see the racism on the news, we have to take it, but we shouldn't internalize it and become sick about it, because it won't help anybody.
It's not, and we are sick about it. I mean, I see the post all day, every day, and it is just so much hatred and bitterness and everything. And I know everybody's internalizing this, which is why I wanted to do this show, just to start the dialogue.
Yes, let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, we have to, but like I said, we have to understand. When a dog barks, don't sit back and bark at the dog. Understand what he is. And what we have to do is come up with strategy. And you can't do that with a lot of emotion and hate and fear. You cannot do that. Dr. King was very selective. I mean, he was very focused on it. He said it's not the police, it's the policy. And so nothing the police does can happen without the policy allowing it to be done.
That's right.
But we cannot be fearful. So it's about strategy. But at the same time, calmness, and use your intellect and use your spirit to change it. But your emotion is not going to be able to do anything except get you killed, get you frustrated. It has to go to that next level.
I think on that really touches something that's close to my heart. I think how do I train my son to submit? Then I'm watching these videos and I'm watching he should have submitted. And I'm like, do you guys need to release some sort of video that shows parents how to teach their kids how to submit? Because I'm fearful that this may So, but I don't need anybody to submit a video for me to teach my son how to do what you just did. You know what I mean? To arm himself with a spiritual centering so that he is elevated when he goes outside.
Exactly.
So that he is in his space and standing on his own and able to be called outside of his name, and
he'll start attracting other things
react.
towards him too.
And know that these arrows that are being thrown at him, he's the Jedi master.
That's right.
You have to be the Jedi master, and you have to. I hear politicians saying this. Well, just do what everything that the police are supposed to do. No. So would you want me to be subjected to him demeaning me? But I'm correct. I'm saving my life, and that's true. But like I said again, we have to look at the policy. But we have to look at ourselves in that situation. So when he comes to the window, you don't give him that kind of power.
No, don't.
I'm still in a power position. Hello, can I help you, officer?
Exactly.
Was there a reason for you to stop me?
Exactly.
If you show fear, he's going to intimidate you more.
Yes.
Or anger, of course.
And they're
feel your
trained to
confidence.
intimidate you.
Yeah.
And they're trained to push you so they can,
But when they stop you and you show that you are confident in who you are, you repel that energy. Because he said, "Damn, you too calm."
Yeah, you tuned into
bullies
something.
Bullies don't like attacking people that know they're going to defend themselves. So you have to have your spirit and your heart and your intellect at a certain level that, yes, I've been stopped many times before. Can I help you, officer?
That's right.
Okay. Oh, no, certainly.
Exactly.
Okay. What else? It's not, no. Because I'm projecting. I'm looking at him in his eyes and I'm projecting this way. And if he's barking, excuse me, we don't have to do that. You have a watch commander. We have him come down here.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. You know,
Well, they play off of their intelligence
Yeah.
a lot, which is a sad thing. Which is why we should, like you said, read as much as we could, and also find a love for ourselves, because that energy alone will keep a lot of things away from us as a race. You know what I mean? If we loved ourselves more, really, as a race, and stop dividing because of light and dark or straight hair, nappy hair, we're all the same. Okay, when we could start loving ourselves, we become empowered. And that's where more workshops need to be out in communities.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? Free workshops for our children, especially, so they can learn to love themselves and who they are and their melanin. You know what I mean?
And those programs, I feel it should be, it's like if you go into a Jewish community, they not only teach the religion, but they teach the culture. Our churches need to get involved and start teaching the culture, too. African history classes should be, or Hispanic history class should be taught in the church. We need to develop that. And when you love yourself through your culture, it's a shame that we had a Black Jeopardy show, you wouldn't even have contestants for 6 weeks. It'd be completely canceled. And we have to learn that culture allows you. See, in the garden, you have weeds and you have flowers. Flowers are cultivated, weeds just grow. And we have to look at ourselves and our children, because the threat is not against me or Ali or someone or the brother. At this age, it's against the male child. The male child and the female child. That's where the attack is. And we always have to protect our youth. So we culturally have to train them in our way of thinking and our ideas of thinking to allow them to grow. But if we don't pay attention to them, then we go through another generation of the same problem.
Well, let's make sure that teaching them our way of thinking is from a place of love and unity. And so we're going to wrap this show up. This was just the first of many discussions. Just be conscious of being stress-free. Let that race hatred go and this bitterness, and think rationally and problem solve. So on the next edition of the Let's Be Whole show, we look forward to bringing you more information. Thank you so much, DeVoe, Empress DeVoe.
Thank you
and
so much.
always a pleasure, Dr. Askia. Tell them where they can find you at.
You can get in contact with me, holistic practitioner, herbalist. Just call me about your health, your mind. Let's get it all together here. Askia.me. ASKIA.me or Askia. Facebook, Muwakil, MUWWAKKIL.
And where can they find you at?
The Healing Zone Workshop on Facebook. I've got all my stuff on there. You can see where the workshops are. And if you don't have Facebook, just email me, thehealingworkshop@gmail.com.
Awesome. All right, you guys, thanks so much. And until next time, let's be whole, mind, body, and soul.